Mom, who's that?
Have you ever wondered why horror movies just aren't as scary anymore? Picture this, a ghost appears on the screen, meant to terrify you, but instead you find yourself laughing. As a lifelong horror fan, I get it. I know you crave that spine-chilling fear, that heart-racing thrill. So today I've come up with a theory on how to truly terrify an audience. If you're ready to be scared, let's dive in. Welcome to Kuriosity. If you have a curious mind, then this channel is perfect for you. Don't waste any time to press the bell icon for fascinating theories about movies, psychology, and other general topics. Get ready and let's begin. As an audience, what draws us to certain movies is relatability. When we find something we can connect with, it evokes strong emotions. When a movie captures the heart of the audience, it becomes a hit or even a blockbuster. When it comes to horror movies, they need a compelling storyline, relatable characters, and of course, a terrifying ghost. Remember those classic horror films? A group of young adults, camping in the middle of the night, stumble upon a haunted house. They enter and the ghost attacks them. Or those famous films where a character becomes possessed by a demonic spirit and start levitating. Those are truly scary movies, right? However, while Hollywood is still producing similar types of films, they no longer give us that spine-tingling fear. According to my theory, here is why. Why are ghost stories boring? As I mentioned, audiences remain captivated when they find relatability in a movie. Not too long ago, people were genuinely terrified of ghosts, especially in rural areas. Back then, many rural villages were surrounded by forests, making ghost stories a common part of local folklore. Some villagers even claimed to have seen such apparition with their own eyes. I remember a relative visiting my parents once, sharing how she used to spend holidays at our house as a child. She told us that she had seen a ghost there one night. I remember thinking, please don't scare me. Of course, I've never seen a ghost in my house, so it was easy for me to brush off her story. And this is why fear has drifted away from audiences, because they can't relate to the experience of seeing a ghost, because most of them have not, and I hope we don't. Modern audiences are intelligent and harder to scare. You can't frighten them with something they know won't appear in their reality. For many, if they can't see or experience something, this means it does not exist.
Something is invisible, you cannot see it, therefore it cannot be named. If it cannot be named, there is nothing to write down.
So air is just not a word then?
Similarly, with the typical ghost story, people understand that when they leave the theater, they won't encounter a ghost. So there's no real reason for them to feel terrified during the movie. What's the point of being scared when you know it won't happen? Yet, many producers continue recycling the same old ghost stories, hoping to scare people. But audiences are tired of these recycled plots. It's time to stop hunting us with boring stories. CGI and AI. CGI and AI are no longer new concept for audiences. They have become an essential pillars of the film industry. Today, it's nearly impossible to produce a film without incorporating these technologies. CGI was first introduced in the 1960s and had evolved by 2010 to the point where distinguishing between real and computer-generated imagery became nearly impossible. In horror films, CGI is commonly used to create ghostly figures and levitating objects. In the past, scenes of shadowy figures emerging from dark smoke with glowing eyes floating eerily before vanishing gave audiences chills. This was partly because viewers had limited knowledge of visual effects. However, with platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, and Photoshop, showcasing advanced editing, audiences have become familiar with these techniques. Many are also aware of AI's role in generating hyper-realistic content. Nowadays, people recognize that much of what they see on social media isn't real but AI generated. Recently, someone said that my voice was AI generated. Well, I actually took it as a compliment. When we watch horror movies filled with CGI and AI, we know it's all digital manipulation, which unfortunately makes it far less frightening. Secularization. I have nothing against religion, but studies show that highly religious people tend to believe in the existence of ghosts, and I believe this to be true. I've had a religious friend who believed in ghosts more strongly than many horror fans do. Religion often teaches that the opposite of God is a demon or evil spirit, leading many to adopt the belief that ghosts are malevolent and will harm us if we don't pray to God. However, I like to offer a different perspective. Ghosts were once human. While they may now appear as holographic figures, that does not inherently make them bad. We should respect their existence but refrain from attempting to communicate with them, as we are not meant to interact with the dead. In today's world, with secularization on the rise, many people no longer believe in religion, which often results in disbelief in ghosts and demons. If people don't believe in these entities, how can they be scared by them? How to really scare people? As I mentioned, people are no longer afraid of CGI ghosts, so how can horror films truly scare people? Use real-life traumatic experiences. We all grew up with various traumas that continue to haunt us till today. When these traumas are triggered, fear is a natural response, and we often try to escape it. Horror movies should aim to evoke that same feeling. Many people have been mentally and emotionally tortured by narcissist people. If a director successfully creates a character that embodies this kind of emotional manipulation, it can trigger deep responses in those who have experienced similar trauma, making the character memorable, and when the character is memorable, so is the film. However, not everyone has been abused by narcissists. Directors need to explore universal fears, what causes people pain and terror in the real world, and weave those elements into horror films. Nowadays, people are more afraid of other people than supernatural entities. Many of us have been hurt, betrayed, or traumatized by real humans. Think about those in your life who broke your heart, who broke your trust, or turned from friend to foe. Remembering them evokes strong emotional reactions, right? Similarly, horror films should focus on real-world terrors to provoke genuine fear in audiences. Slasher films are a prime example. These movies featuring a masked serial killer resonate because people know such crimes can and do happen in their real world. I'm gonna give you an example of a slasher movie which is terrifying people a lot today, and that's Terrifier 3, which left audiences froze in fear because it portrayed a brutal, real-world antagonist. Some theaters even advised the viewers to bring bags in case they felt nauseous due to the intense gore. Why does this work? People are more afraid of realistic human threats than CGI figures. Films like Terrifier depict a clown, a human in a mask, not a digital creation. This feels more tangible and possible in the real world. Sadly, crimes filled with gore are part of our reality, making these depictions more terrifying than supernatural ghosts. In my opinion, directors should rely less on CGI and more on real human actors. A great example is the nun from Conjuring 2, initially planned as a CGI character, then later the director decided to use a real actor, and the result was terrifying. Another effective method is using side characters to build tension. In the Bollywood hit Bhul Bhulaiya, side characters had their own interpretation of the ghost from the start, creating an eerie atmosphere that kept the audience on edge. A powerful way to scare people is by using objects or characters once considered harmless or amusing, like clowns. Clowns were traditionally seen as a symbol of humor and joy, but today they evoke fear due to their exaggerated, unnatural features and unpredictable behaviors, making them unsettling. If you see a clown in front of you today, you will pee in your pants for sure. Or another thing director can do is to use religious figures such as the nun. Religious figures like the nun scare people because they subvert expectations of purity and safety. Typically associated with goodness and morality, seeing them as malevolent entities creates discomfort. This fear is amplified by cultural association with the supernatural and the unknown, tapping into deep-rooted anxieties about divine punishment and spiritual corruption. The eerie, distorted appearance of such figures also triggers the uncanny valley effect, making them unsettling and memorable. But of course, directors should be very careful when using religious figures because not every audience will like it. So that's it for today, friends. If you think my theory makes sense, then do not forget to subscribe and do share my video with your friends. And do not forget to check my other video which is based on psychological theory and movies theories. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.